Welcome, everybody. I'm Dave Lowe. We'll introduce all these characters that are here today because guess what? We actually started the new year on 10/1. That means, guys, if you're just starting getting into the federal space and talking about marketing in 2024, you're actually 3 months behind. Welcome to the party. All right. So today's hot seat questions for everybody here. So you know, what is your federal brand? This is all going out to Sally and Peter and Greg and Rafa, and we're going to talk about this. What's your federal brand? What is federal decision maker mental real estate? And how do you maintain your federal decision maker's memory? All right. And what does Sam Radar do to help? Now, Sam Radar, we'll be talking a lot about that today because they're one of the sponsors and this is free. So we promote things here for free. Don't we, Raphael?
Absolutely.
Unapologetically, we're going to promote things. All right. So participation is easy. Make sure you put in the chat. What is your one word for doing business with the government? We will share documents and links in that chat. As a matter of fact, let me make sure. Did I do the chat right? Is the chat for everybody? Hold on. Everyone. And everyone can post to everyone. My apologies. All right. There we go.
David, this panelist.
I did it. I think I fixed it. All right. So where's the links? Hold on 1 second. I need to grab the handouts for today. Will be in here. I'll pop those in there, and these are going to get updated a little bit later because I'm running a little bit behind. So if you have any questions, raise your hand, pop it in the Q&A because there's no way with all the people that are going to be here. By the way, Rafa, you're going to join me on this afternoon, right?
That's right.
We got 150 people signed up.
Wow.
It's insane. Doing sam.gov tutorial.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah.
What time is it, Raphael?
1 o'clock. It'll be a 1 o'clock session. We'll talk about that in a minute. Quick disclaimer for industry, it's not endorsed by any agency, and participation does not guarantee an award. And if you're a Govy, we love you. Make sure we know who you are so we can call you up and help you. If you have something to say to the folks here, we love having the Govies here. But it is not an endorsement or commitment to purchase from any vendor. So today we will connect you with experts. We'll be discussing what works, highlighting sponsors and partners, including the free trial to Sam Radar, which we will get cooking, and I'll show you some ideas on that today. So the quick poll today, let's get to know each other. Let me see if I can get my polls working. These did not work earlier, so if it doesn't work, whoa, let's not do that. Polls, man, what is happening? All right, let's see. Why are you here? Let me see if I can find it. I'm here because, here you go. I'm new to federal contracting. I have federal contracts as a sub. Let me put my do not disturb on. Or were you one of the 173,518 prime winners? Or some nut sent you an email? All right, we know from which that nut is, don't we, Rafael Marrero?
Absolutely. Chances are he's wearing a glasses and shade today.
Chances are, and a Ravens, I'm sporting the Ravens. So if you don't like the Ravens, well, I'm sorry. They're just the best football team in there. All right, so let's get, so you have the handouts. Did everybody get the handouts? Did that work, by the way? Can everybody see that as well?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about it, Sally. What do you see in there for one word for federal government? What do we see?
I put like 5 words in different languages, and all of those 5 words I put in the different languages, Japanese, etc., is challenging.
Challenging.
So
I like
any
it.
language, whatever you're doing in it, is pretty challenging.
Awesome. Confusing. Daniel says confusing. He's from Tennessee.
Yep.
Let's see. Who else has got one in here?
Complexity.
Exhausting, says Catherine from Dayton, Ohio. Emily says from DC, growth. Jay Talbot. Love me some Jay Talbot, by the way. Word this time is lucrative. Brandy says scary. Jason Moore says DC in his massive operation. I agree. Rob says opportunity. That's why we're here, right, everybody? We're here for the opportunities, right?
Yep.
Kimberly from San Antonio says stringent. That's a new one, Kimberly. I hadn't heard stringent yet. David Graves can't follow the instructions, says 2 words. I'm just kidding, David. New opportunity. I love it. Ty is from Cedar Hill. Awesome. Carla, 1 word is rewarding. I like that. From Lowminster, Massachusetts. Fantastic. From Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and Amish country. Love it. Welcome, Michael. Bruce says opportunity. What is that word, Sally? Impeg, what?
Well, I did challenging in 5 different languages. So Italian, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, it's
Is
challenging.
Italian Impeg not
Yes.
Tiva?
Yes.
All right. All right. Claudia Shipper, Happy New Year, she says. And how do we get in front of clients since COVID? Love that question. Barbara, we're going to talk about that. Let's see. 1 word. There is no 1 word, says Michael Warren. Love it. All right. Ty Burnett, complexities. Yes. That's true too. Let's scroll down a little bit.
Greg's is Maron.
Dude, oh shit, that's pretty cool. Maybe we have someone from Finland today. Someone from Finland.
Finland. Finland. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
They're
Jackie
waiting
Lewis
to
says complex. Raphael says tiered.
Mhm.
Let's see. And Oakley Wright says how. I don't know if that was like setting up some kind of question, but maybe it's just how. Painful, Laurie says. Oh,
I see
fantastic.
the open checkbook. Did you see that? Open checkbook.
Open check.
1 word.
Very clever, Aaron. Aaron's very clever.
Aaron,
I love that.
I love Aaron's because you said open checkbook, 1 word. And
Yeah.
Mark Holmes says hidden. Oh, I like me some Mark Holmes answers. I like it. All right, well, we'll get cooking because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That is why we're here. I'm going to introduce you to the doctor, the colonel. I didn't get that in there, dude. I just didn't have time. I'm gonna,
All right.
So why am I calling him the colonel? He is the Kentucky Fried Colonel because what is it that you're called?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
what are you?
Just call me the Kentucky Fried Cuban. That's it.
The Kentucky Fried Cuban. That's good. Kentucky Fried Cuban.
That's my moniker from Dave.
So you're why am I calling you that? Why? Because you have been bestowed an honorary or something.
Oh, it's a colonelcy from the governor of Kentucky from my work during the pandemic with American small businesses and my support of Made in USA. So it's a formal commission of a colonel, and it's a lifelong commission. It was signed by the Secretary of State, and as evidence in that beautiful letters patent there that I have framed from the governor of Kentucky. So I am a civilian colonel and an aide to the governor of Kentucky for goodwill in all affairs. But it's the American equivalent to being knighted. Let's put it that way.
Wow, that's very cool. I feel like everyone, let us proceed to salute.
Bring your bucket next time, right? Bring your bucket.
So what Rafael Marrero does, he does capability statements. This is an important thing about what we're talking about today with branding, briefings. This is like your wheelhouse, dude. Everything we're talking about today is in your wheelhouse. So I appreciate you being here. And if your marketing team has this face when they say, hey, do you have a capability statement? When you go back to your marketing team, if they say something like, I don't know what you're talking about, Jake. Well, then that's what you do, right, Rafa? Capability statements, videos, briefings. You can help with briefings and even capabilities business cards. I love this play that you have, by the way.
Brilliant.
With making your
it's
business
marketing.
cards.
It's all about marketing your capabilities, and people don't get it, Dave. They don't get it. They don't understand just how important that 1 word is, right? Your capabilities are everything. Yeah. And if you're marketing and you're not highlighting your capabilities, then you're doing yourself a disservice. It's very simple.
I mean, that graphic right there is so beautiful and so rich in all the different flavors and pictures. I mean, it's incredible. No one does it better than Dr. Rafael Marrero.
It almost looks like he knows something about marketing.
It kind of does.
Yeah, you know what? Let me give me 1 second, Dave. I want to show you something real quick.
All right, hold on. Well, you can share out. Go ahead.
There he goes.
Okay, hang on.
Sharing is caring.
Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I'd say we know a thing or two about
hold on. I need to
marketing.
stop my share. Go ahead. What-
Go ahead,
Oh,
Dave.
are you talking?
Yeah, let me just polish this up real quick.
Wow.
Dude,
That's our Telly Award.
Do you have any clothes on?
Yeah, there we go. Our Telly Award.
He's holding it. It's beautiful.
Yep, you see that? So that was
Wow.
an award. It's very similar to an Oscar, but it's called the Telly, as in television. And this is for one of our work. So yes, we do know a thing or two about marketing. We're very good at it. We've done it for years, and we specialize in marketing and branding contractors. That's our wheelhouse.
love
So
it.
whether you're a prime or a sub, or want to get the attention of those who have their checkbooks and are ready to engage with contractors, we're your go-to agency. That's what we do.
That's what he does. Awesome. But we're going to give you the opportunity to connect with Rolf in a few minutes. And we have Greg Clark in the house with DKA. What does DKA do, Greg?
We provide proposal assistance and GSA schedule support primarily, but we're involved in anything that has to do with paperwork about pursuing government contracts.
That's awesome. And Greg has been on GovBrief many times doing unsolicited proposals, and that is available on demand. If you're interested in that, you can check that out. So we appreciate you, man, always. And you also, with the GSA schedules, you you can help them do that too, and manage them too, right?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into managing your contract. You know, you have your contract for a period of 5 years with 3 5-year options, and no one can imagine how their businesses are going to change over the course of 20 years and the things that they're going to be offering as opposed to what they were when they initially got on. So you're going to need to be able to add new offerings and remove old offerings and update your pricing and all those types of things. So absolutely. So yeah, we're up at 465 companies we've helped get on the schedule so far.
That's fantastic, man. I
And you guys
appreciate
rock at what you do.
Absolutely. And
Thank
we
you
also
very much.
have the one, the only, the Sally White. I have your old picture. So the one, the only Sally White is in the house, and she helps with LinkedIn, which happens to be one of the main places that the Govies go. Isn't that right? It's one of the professional
Absolutely.
places.
I put my information in the chat, and one of the things that I really like to do is help you at the level you are. If you have a small budget, no problem, because LinkedIn and some of these other solutions are literally free. You can go to conferences if you have a budget, or you could go to free online conferences and get your impressions out, your positioning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I help you at the level where you are. And in the areas that Dave suggested, I'd love to do a free conference call or a free little chat. And it's a pleasure to be here with my esteemed colleagues on this wonderful day. So
I don't know about esteemed stuff. I mean, maybe the colonel, who's the knight of the United States, is esteemed, but the rest
I
of
said
us.
is teamed. I didn't say esteemed.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Just that too. That too. Right.
And we also have Peter Timbers. And I tell you what, one of the things I love about Peter, and we're not focusing too much on you today, Peter, but you help folks get funding on contracts even before they're awarded, right?
Yes. When your bank says no, we say yes.
Wow.
Last year we ended the year a little over 2.5 billion in federal government financing. And the thing that makes us unique, especially which is helpful for the newbies, is we're going to lend to your opportunity, whether it's your first opportunity and you don't have any historical financial information, or you're a seasoned companies. We finance companies as small as $25,000 line of credit. My biggest customer is at an $18 million line of credit. But the real key is we're going to finance your opportunity rather than finance to your financial statement. Huge difference, game changer for most companies that do business with us.
And I'll say this, I love what he does because the banks don't understand the federal contracting world. Most of them do not understand it. And there's billions and billions of dollars that just don't understand it. So thanks for being here, Peter. You can absolutely throw in as we go along. I'm also going to introduce, now Brian's not here, he's out on vacation. So Brian is a former federal contracting officer of 34 years of federal service. We've done briefings together. He also runs acquisitionhelp.com. He already has one book out there. He's releasing another book on CPARs coming out soon. If you don't know what CPARs is, it's your report card for having a good contract. If it's over $250,000, they give you a report card, and if it isn't good, It doesn't help you in your business development efforts, and it can really hurt you. So I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal, and I help in these areas. We're going to be focusing on a couple of things today that we operate in intelligence. GovBrief, we'll talk about that a little bit. Not very much. I'm just going to get through this real quick. We do it for industry. Today I'm doing the SAM.gov tutorial, and we're also reaching out to experts. If you're an expert in your field and you want to reach Govies, this is the platform that we have to do it on. Or if you're an expert in your field and you want to reach industry, we use it as a platform, just like I'm using it today to help you with your SAM.gov tutorial. SAM Radar is one of the things that we have on our list. It is a game changer. We'll be referring to this because there's a 2-minute challenge I have for everybody to review an email and contact the buyer, the contracting officer, and ask for a meeting with the contracting officer or ask for a referral to the prime. That's all I want people to do. Why? Why? Because 98% never show up on SAM.gov. Now you might be saying, I don't understand. If you're new to this, I'm going to ask another poll, which is, what do you know about the 98%? Did you know about the 98% before I said it? Now I know Jay Talbot knows about the 98% because Jay Talbot we've been wrapped around different things all the time with me and Jay. I got to meet Jay actually before Christmas. It was awesome. So did you know about the 98% not hitting SAM.gov? Or did you know maybe there was some, but you didn't know it was 98%? Or do you just flat out don't believe me? So while we're doing that, we have tools to monitor SAM.gov, GSA eBuy, and help you market directly to the GSA. All right, we're going to get into it. That was a long introduction. Sorry about that, guys. It's New Year. We were just catching up with everybody. Today is a different kind of a presentation. Now, the reason why has to do with this. How many people knew that there was a Pop-Tart Bowl? Peter Timbus, did you even know there was a Pop-Tart Bowl?
I watched part of it.
You did?
Of course
I
I
did
did.
watch part of it.
You watched?
Yeah.
So you watched part of the Pop-Tart Bowl. So when you were watching, who was playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl? Do you remember?
I can't recall who it was.
This is fantastic, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
was so thrilling.
It was so. Greg Clark, did you know about the Pop-Tart Bowl?
Florida.
I did.
Dave,
I
Florida.
did. And I saw that, excuse me, that somebody ate part of the mascot.
Yeah,
It's an edible. It's an edible mascot.
It's an edible
That's
mascot.
pretty funny.
Oh my gosh! All right,
Laurie in
so
the chat. Laurie in the chat knows. She's mentioning.
yeah. So who? Anybody else believe? Who else? Who knew about this?
Laurie. And
Jason Moore. Hold on a second. I'm gonna let me see if I can get the Jason.
Okay.
Oh, and I want Carla. I want to find Carla and Jason. Hold on a second. I'm gonna find Jason. Hang on, Jason Moore. Jason, can you talk for a minute? You there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
How you doing?
Good, man. So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from and where, what do you do?
I'm in Washington, D.C., Southeast Ward 8.
All right. Fantastic. By Department of Commerce, right?
Say it again.
By Department of Commerce in the Navy Yard?
Yeah. That's where I am. I used to live in Ashburn, Loudoun County. So being in this area, you're around a lot of that gov people. Therefore, I've learned the industry, but I've never won a contract. I even have friends I go to church with that are COs.
Is that
and I still don't.
There you go. We'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to. We're going to have you a little bit more than I thought. So you knew about the Pop-Tart Bowl?
Yeah, you know what? I was about to Google it. I remember watching a part of it, but I forgot what teams it was.
You didn't know what team it was, but
David.
you remember it was a Pop-Tart Bowl, right?
Yes, I do.
Kansas beat North Carolina State.
All right. So there's your update on
Yeah.
the Pop-Tart poll. But you
Okay,
knew
there we
about it.
go.
And Carla,
Yeah.
you knew after the fact, right? That's what you said. Carla, you there?
I am correct. I saw it on social media.
You saw it on social media. I saw it on ESPN. So this, now I'm going to use me as a focus group today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to bear with it. So I had not thought about Pop-Tarts in decades. Now, while I am young looking, I am not young, as Rafa would say. So I started to think to myself, what is the relationship of Pop-Tarts to football? And it just didn't add up to me, right? But then I started to think about the audience, right? So who is, does anybody else like me that remembers Pop-Tarts from being a kid? Anybody remember?
Yeah.
Right?
Come on, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Everybody does.
Yeah.
Why? Because they hammered us with marketing. And yes, Jay Talbot, this is a recap of yesterday's Monday roundtable, because we were talking about it yesterday. Because I was amazed at myself, because I didn't know about the Pop-Tart Bowl. I heard it on ESPN. Now, why am I talking about Pop-Tarts on a federal government thing? Because I hadn't thought about Pop-Tarts, and I walk into Costco and I see this 48 variety pack. Why is it 48? You have to buy a pallet of them from
A
Costco,
pallet.
Pallet of Pop-Tart.
right? You can't buy a single Pop-Tart. You might be able to get the freebies if they weren't giving them out. But I see a Pop-Tart thing, and I'm like, Pop-Tarts are now in my mind. And ladies and gentlemen, I bought Pop-Tarts.
No,
I bought the Pop-Tarts. And so I started thinking about this.
Marketing.
That's exactly right. It's marketing. You're absolutely right. So it's not about the relationship of Pop-Tarts to football. It's about the relationship of Pop-Tarts with me. Right?
Mhm.
And now I'm talking about Pop-Tarts. So you talk about viral. This is well after the fact. We're talking about Pop-Tarts. So the question is, now Pop-Tarts has occupied a portion of my brain since I was 4, right?
Yeah.
Way back in the 60s, they are hammering me with marketing along with they're great, right? Everybody knows what that is, right? If you're my age, you definitely do. Right? So now what Pop-Tarts did is they accessed the part of my brain from when I was a kid, and they said, I want you to think about Pop-Tarts. And then when I saw it, I said, okay, I'm going to buy it. So the mental real estate that they occupied started way back when I was watching Super Friends every Saturday, right? Everybody with me? Super Friends?
Yep.
And Pop-Tarts were commercials after commercials. And oh, by the way, which flavor is the best one? Obviously, it's strawberry, because there's 24 strawberries versus 12 cherries and 12 blueberries. So they know me well, because that is my favorite. So this gets us to a place. So the reason why I'm asking this and why I'm going down this path is, how do we become Pop-Tarts to our federal buyers? How do we become, when we need it, or when we think we want it, or when we see it? It's a little different for federal contracting, right, Rafa? They're not going to sam.gov and saying, oh, let me pick the Pop-Tart. They're not going there. We got to take it to them, which is why it's important. So everybody here want to be a federal Pop-Tart, because we want them to buy us, don't we? We want to be the edible mascot, don't we?
Yeah.
Bet you didn't expect that when you woke up this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, hot seat question number 1. What is your federal brand, and how do they see you? So, Rafa, I'm going to start with you, because you do this all the time and you help folks with their federal brand. So tell me what it is. Before you do, I do have one thing. For those of you that, hold on a second, I'm going to go back to our poll and see how many people Not the 98%. I want to see how many people are new. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Maybe, I don't know. I think like 60% of the people were new. I don't know, I can't find it. All right, but for the folks that are new, real quick, let me just say this. These are your stakeholders. You have contracting officers and specialists. They're on the procurement side. Program managers and project managers, contracting officer representatives, and senior management. Everybody tracking with that? So real quick, so how a federal opportunity actually comes, right? You have your politicals that are up at the top, SESs and senior directors and executives. And then you have the folks that are doing the work or contracting with you to do the work. There's one side of the house that cares about getting the job done, and the other side, their responsibility is executing paperwork, right, Greg Clark?
That's exactly right.
Greg helps with the paperwork, right? So the program managers throw something over the fence and say, we need it. And so this is where we want to have that conversation, is either with the program or the project managers. So now that we know that, your capability statement and how they see you, right? Raphael, does that, do you want it to just communicate with the procurement people or just communicate with the program people? Or do you
No, that's why I said tiered. That's why I said tiered in my one word description.
Nice.
You cannot see the federal government as one entity, right? There is no such thing. You're marketing to multiple tiers of individuals. They all have different goals and objectives and different metrics by which they are evaluated. So you need to make sure that your capabilities, marketing, messaging is on point and on brand so that you can communicate your value to them. Think of capabilities marketing as a positioning strategy that you use to present yourself to any given person. If it's a program manager, you want to highlight the fact that you've delivered on time, on budget. Let's say that you're in construction, right? Let me just give you an example. And that your NAICS code is 237130, which is heavy industrial construction. Well, what are the things that you would want to market? Number one, you have your OSHA logs, right? You have 0 accidents. I would market my safety record. I would market the fact that my EMR record is low, the fact that I have local boots on the ground, which makes mobilization and demobilization costs low, right? Your license to perform in certain areas, so on and so forth. But you don't send the same message and the same script, so to speak, to all of the people in government. You have to make sure you hit on their hot buttons and their hot points. That is what capabilities marketing is all about, Dave.
So when you talk about their hot points, what are some of the hot points that you make sure that people know about?
Well, first, I first start by looking at their requirements, right, and doing the research. When I approach an agency, I look at strategic plans, right, and see how they roll down to like, this is the 5-year plan, this is what we're doing, these are the programs that we're implementing. I also look at whenever you're implementing a program or an idea, right, there are going to be challenges and constraints because you're dealing with human resources, with supply chain constraints right after the pandemic. There are all these different types of issues. Also technological barriers, right? So let's say that you have an engineer, procure, construct, or what's known as EPC in construction, right? And then there's a backlog on some of these long lead items that are manufactured elsewhere, right? That's really going to throw a major curve into the mix. So one of the ways that you could help mitigate those concerns is by addressing how you're going to address inventory challenges and constraints and bottlenecks, right? That would be the messaging that you would want to address with that person, right? How your back office and program management or project management office is run, what type of methodologies you use, how many PMP certified professionals you have, how many of these are specialized in scheduling for construction, how many are specialized.
How do you get that across in a capability statement? What is your process?
I like to do very simple XY matrices, right? So, example, the skill set and whether or not we check this off. I did this for one of my, actually a marketing client that does premiums, high text marketing, and our capability statement on the back resonated with buyers so much that they walked away with purchase orders and they've got contracts within a 4-week period after that initial exchange. The same thing happened to Aubrey Jackson from Healthcare Alliance. He's a service disabled veteran from Georgia, by the way. And this gentleman went to the HubZone conference last year, or early, well, of this fiscal year, but earlier this year, I should say, right? And guess what? 3 weeks within the first exchange, Dave, of meeting and greeting and knocking on doors with our capabilities, materials, he got his first purchase order from Bechtel. Bechtel, for those of you in the architectural engineering and construction world, they're a big firm.
They're a big deal.
They're a big deal. So he hit a grand slam, and guess what? He's getting repeat business. So it just wasn't a one-off because they were looking to fill a billet. They were actually looking to source the right talent for the work. In his case, he's involved in medical transportation of patients. They also do modifications and construction in homes so that you can get these electric wheelchairs.
Wheelchairs, yeah.
Stairs. Yeah, they do all this.
Stair climbers.
The stair climbers, and they also do the water retrofitting of the systems in there for the.
A lot of business for that, by the way.
And he's doing work with the VA hospitals. Let me tell you, his capabilities, marketing materials have been a game changer. So marketing to the government is very, very different. I know this because I was a Fortune 500 procurement executive, right? I ran a procurement shop for a very large EPC firm.
Maybe may not resemble.
That's right.
A fruit.
That's right. And consumer and an award-winning multi-billion-dollar consumer products organization for which I served in the procurement role and in consumer marketing. So that was an eye-opening experience. So I know what the big guys are looking for in the private and public sectors. And our company helps you do just that, right? We help you get the right messaging and not kill people with too much information in the materials that you present, just the right amount of verbiage, because not all capabilities, marketing materials are created equal.
That's a fact. And that's why I send everything to you. Because I don't want to do it, first of all. I just want to use it. And Sally, I know you got, I want to talk about how you, so there's multiple places where people will see your brand. What's your advice on LinkedIn, since that's one of the main places that people are going to, once you are in dialoguing with them, or maybe you reach out to them, maybe they pop on LinkedIn and so there. Tell us a little bit about that.
For sure. So you're absolutely 100% correct, Dave. So relative to LinkedIn, so what we do is we really collaborate with you to make sure that your superpowers are reflected in your positioning, your brand, your website, your graphics, like Raphael mentioned, LinkedIn and other social media aspects, your messaging. Also, we really help prepare you so that when we introduce you to executives in the government, 2 stars, 3 stars, decision makers, influencers, you're prepared with your pitch, your elevator pitch. So it's crisp, clear, and really describes how you and your company and your products and your services can add value to the organization you're speaking with. And all that, there's a lot to sort of unpack there. So I actually put that in the chat. But Dave's correct. LinkedIn is brilliant because it doesn't cost anything to join LinkedIn. And it's so important that your graphics and everything reflects you on LinkedIn and the many other places where you add value.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. And I know you do a lot with that. And ultimately, what the reason why we're bringing this up is, as if you look in your session handouts, you'll see this is the winnable opportunity matrix. And we talked about having a contract, having a program manager, right? Think about the process while this is happening. Program manager tosses something over the fence to the contracting officer. This is where opportunities come from. And the reason why your branding is so important and why your communication and relationship development is so important is if you don't have a good brand, they're going to judge you as not belonging in the pool. And they're just not going to let you play. Just like a good proposal. If you don't write a good proposal, Greg, guess what happens? What?
You're not going to win.
You don't win. and if you don't have good materials, and I'm on the sales side, so what I don't create these materials, I use these materials. I know that I need to have something that looks good, and I know that has to have good information on it and relevant to that person and resonate with that person. And why does this matter? Because if we look at 2023 spending, right? We have a final report that I'm going to put in that folder. It's not in there yet. We just ran it. But if you take a look at this, 87% of all the contracts that were awarded were with 5 or fewer companies responding. How many offers received? 5 or fewer. And look at the dollars. 91% of the dollars, 87% of the activity, 91% of the dollars. If we are not paying attention to how relationships are developed and how influential our brand is, we will not win. You still have to do responses oftentimes, even if it's an unsolicited proposal, right, Greg?
Say what you just said. I think what you just said is really important. Say that again. If we do not pay attention, what you just said is so
I don't even know what I said.
You said if we do not pay attention to relationships and our positioning and how we're branding, give you a hint there. And
we're going to lose.
There you go. You got it.
You can't, man, I can remember Pop-Tarts when I was 4. I cannot remember what I just said 20 seconds ago. I can tell you that.
I can. It was brilliant.
Developing relationships.
Developing relationships. And well, I believe that to my core. You know that. All right. So knowing that this is the case, right? So go back to the Pop-Tarts, right? Pop-Tarts occupied my mental real estate for a long time. And like I said, I can't remember 20 seconds ago, but I can remember when I was 4, which was not 20 seconds ago, ladies and gentlemen. And so that you know, I was 4. Well, let me do some math. 55 years ago. I was 4 55 years ago. So how do we get to that mental real estate? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through a drill, because this is what happened with me with Pop-Tarts, quite frankly, right? I'm going to do a 2-minute challenge. I'm going to show you what this looks like, where you can just review an email and reach out to a buyer and ask them for a meeting or referral. This is a buyer that's swimming in your pool. How do we know? Because they're buying in your NAICS, or more importantly, they're buying from one of your competitors. Any way you look at it, if they're swimming in your pool, you want to reach out and schedule a meeting with the buyer, because the buyer is the person that is responsible for spending the money that's showing up. 91% not showing up on SAM.gov, or more. It's 98% doesn't show up. So that's the drill. All right. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. This is a SAM Radar message. It came in my email because I said, I care about who is buying from LabCorp, Laboratory Corporation of America. You guys tracking with me on this? Everybody see what I'm talking about? Let me see if I can put this up here so I can draw on this. Can I draw? Okay. So what we have is LabCorp, Laboratory Corporation of America, won $853,508 when it was just a few days ago.
Yep.
Right? A few days ago. Notice this: offers reported, not reported. Do yourself a favor, download the spreadsheet that's attached and see how many are not reported. What does that mean? That means no competition is what that means. 99.99% of the time. There's an outlier. I'm sure somebody can call me out and say, well, that's just because I'm rubbish. I'm telling you, this is the way that it's working. This is a BPA call. What's a BPA, Greg Clark?
Blanket purchase agreement, our favorite form.
Our favorite form. And is LabCorp a small business, ladies and gentlemen?
No, it is not.
Heck no.
Huge.
Yet, they're getting awards directly. And who are they getting awards from? They're getting awards from Deion Williams from Department of Veteran Affairs. So when we go back to the 2-minute challenge, this is where it gets simple. First of all, do you have 2 minutes? And if you don't have 2 minutes, this is not the place for you. I'll tell you that right now. What we're going to do is we're going to click this button to contact the buyer. Why do we want to contact the buyer? Because we're going to talk about the award to LabCorp. When? A couple of days ago. And what we want to do, what are we going to do? We are going to ask for a referral to LabCorp if we want to sub, or we're going to ask for a meeting with who? Who are we meeting with? Dion Williams. We're going to ask for a meeting with Dion Williams. Why? Because we compete with LabCorp, and Dion Williams needs to know that you are a viable resource. And that's where you're going to take your branding to Dion. Dion is not coming to you. And you may ask the question, hey, is that $855,000? Is that what I'm responsible for providing as well? Or is there other things that we may be able to develop a blanket purchase agreement with you so that you can buy from me over and over and over and over and over again? That's why we reach out to the buyer. We can also ask the buyer for some other referrals if we want to. Don't worry about any additional research. You don't have to look anything else up. Take 2 minutes, shoot out an email and say, I want to chat with you about the award to LabCorp. And that is why we do what we do in that. Why? Because we know it's going to happen again. Somebody's going to say, I need this. They're going to throw it at a offensive contracting officer. They're going to create an opportunity. So how do we get the mental real estate? And we just showed you how you can get some of that with Sam Radar. How else can you do it? Sally White, what do you do?
So once I discover on Sam Radar who the buyers are, who the procurement officers are, I then go to LinkedIn and see if I can find them. If I can find them, I see who they're connected with. I also go to the website. So I want to know who the senior leadership in Department of Homeland Security is, for example, or who the senior leadership is in the Veterans Organization. And then I see those senior leadership individuals. I see maybe they did a webinar, maybe they did something brilliant. And again, if they're on LinkedIn, I connect with them so that I'm kind of working both those angles. The angle that Dave mentioned, the way that Dave mentioned, because I can talk to a senior level individual and it doesn't matter unless I know who the procurement person is, because that senior executive is not going to do the buying. So I do that two-prong approach. So you're really looking at the whole entire account scenario. So when you have an opportunity to talk to someone, you're ready with your positioning, you know who your players are, you know what they're buying, you know your NAICS code, and you're well prepared for when you have that opportunity.
I think that's really important, is that you by understanding what decision they made, right? So you look at it, you say, okay, this showed up, you're swimming in my pool. Now I need to engage, and I want to engage the best I can. And it isn't just a single email, by the way. It isn't just a single meeting. I had one of the most important meetings I ever had in my life. And it was 9 months ago. And it was 20 minutes of the time with a contracting officer and a program manager at the same time. I was in the room, they were in the room together. That was 8 months ago. Most important meeting of my life. What are the chances that the contracting officer and the program manager are going to remember me?
They're not.
They're not. Because that's an insignificant. That is 8 months ago. They've had 8 months of rest of the rubbish in their daily life, just like you do and I do, and an insignificant meeting for them that happened 8 months ago. We have got to make sure that we're grabbing that mental real estate, holding on to that over the course of time, and then help them when they're ready to make that decision the next time. Again, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is all I'm talking about. All right, so the hot seat question number 3. How do you maintain your federal decision makers' memory of you? Just like I said, one of the most important meetings of my life, literally, was, I guess, 17 years ago. 17 years ago, when I met with Jim Williams. 40 minutes I had with Jim Williams. He literally took I was talking about the networks contract. Jim Williams ran GSA FAS. I got a meeting with Jim Williams for 45 minutes. Most impactful meeting in my life. I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for Jim filling out what he did for me in my journal. He literally gave me the lay of the land and contacts and referrals and everything else that goes along with it. I got together with Jim 3 months ago for lunch, and I said, Jim, I just want to thank you again. He's like, I don't even remember that meeting. I don't remember. That's insignificant. How do we maintain ourselves in our decision makers' memory. Why? Because these people are maintaining relationships with them. They're communicating with them on a regular basis. So how do we do it? How do you do it? Rafa, you are being the master of doing things and saying, okay, one way is an updated capability statement, right? You send out just that alone. That's one touch.
Yep.
How
I believe
else?
in multiple touch points.
Why?
Dave,
Why multiple touch points?
because you have, in order to create a habit, it's a known fact of what's known as neuro-linguistic programming that you have to do something for 21 days consecutively in order for it to become a habit, right? Whether it's walking or drinking a glass of water at a certain time, or brushing your teeth at a specific time, or reading a book, right? These are all habits. By repeating these, they become part of your routine. So in the case of our clients, and in the case of our prospects, we have to make sure that we maintain top of mind. And this is the biggest battle. This is the smallest battlefield right here, Dave.
Yeah, it's the biggest one. You're right.
The biggest and the most difficult one, right? It's about 3 inches wide, and it's important to understand that you have, if you stay in touch with these people every 21 days or so, you stay relevant.
I love that.
Okay. So one of the things I like to do is I like to develop a cadence of emails that are crafted. These are not boilerplates, Dave. They're specialty. They're custom written according to the capabilities of the client. So we do custom copywriting, and we basically give it to them, copy and paste, ready to go in Outlook. So they can use that information with your beautiful tool, Dave, when they're reaching out to contracting officers and say, you know what, I want to do here's my capability statement. Here's what we do. And so a series of 7 emails timed out over a cycle of certain days to keep it fresh, right? I will even tell them what time of the day and what day of the week they should begin these email campaigns, because there is a psychology to email campaigns, and it has to be sent at a certain time of the day, a certain day of the week, and guess what? A certain number of words, right? Because you don't want to kill them. You don't want to kill them with a whole bunch of verbiage and spam. Right?
I couldn't agree with you more. And the shorter, the better, because you only have so much time to be able to capture their attention and have that translate for you. So, and Sally, I think LinkedIn is the same model, don't you?
Absolutely. Raphael really made a good point. There's data about when people read things. And so the latest, greatest data is now Thursdays. So Thursdays are the day for email. They're also really good day for LinkedIn. There's some times on weekends, and it depends on what you're selling. So Google and other search engines, there's lots of data available to help you.
What does Google know? Google don't know nothing.
Yeah, I know. Also, it's really important. Like one time, it was very terrifying for me. I got thrown in LinkedIn jail because I didn't know that you couldn't send to so many people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they'll send you a warning, Sally, you've been bad. I mean, it's terrifying. So you want to make sure you know the rules. But make sure you know the rules for these different social media. Also, like Raphael said, for email, because you can get in trouble that way. So know your stuff. If you don't, there's people who can help you. But Dave said a really, really important thing, and that's absolutely make sure you know your audience, how to market to them, and how to maintain your brand in all the areas that you're doing.
And there's and I think what you said, Ralph, is very, very important, is that it's tiered, and you have your kind of, hey, here's an updated capability statement as one of your touch points, and then here's something that is unique, and like Sally will bring out, she'll do some research, see that somebody just spoke at an event or is coming up to speak at an event. Hey, I'm really interested in seeing what you got, or I listened to what you did on YouTube. And who doesn't want to have people listen to us? Who doesn't want to come? It's a matter of finding the thread that you're going to pull and making the connection. And it doesn't have to be like Pop-Tarts, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't have to be the grade school stuff. It can happen, as Rafa said, neurolinguistic programming, NLP. If you haven't heard about that, crazy psychological stuff that happens there.
And right here, let me just add something. Right here, what Dave has created since COVID is a way for all of us to come together as this government contracting community. I mean, I've met hundreds of people at conferences that I've met here on ISI Federal. They'll come up and go, Sally White, oh my gosh, I met you at Dave's conference. Or they'll link in with me. Do you remember me? You were on Monday Roundtable. So Dave and his team have created this beautiful platform that connects all of us in this family of what we're trying to do together. And I don't know any other platform like it. And he'll talk a little bit about how to sort of join. But membership does have its privileges.
Privileges.
Now,
Yeah,
but for the
I tell-
150 people, because I saw 150 people at once, we have several amounts here. You were here because you have joined the Dave ISI family.
And there's a lot of folks that are new, by the way, and I appreciate you guys joining us. And it's a little bit different, and we do want to get you out of here because I got to prep for like 150 people. So at 1:00. So real quick, I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy of this as well, and I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to update. Oh, for crying out loud, really? How is it I can't copy and paste my stuff anymore? This is crazy. All right.
It's not your fault.
It is my fault. I guarantee it's my fault. I just don't know why.
It's Dave's fault.
It's my fault. I'm not sure why, but all right. So what I'm doing,
Blame it on the gringo. Blame it on the gringo.
the token gringo to you.
That's it.
So for those of you who are asking questions, I'm going to save your chat. And so that if Dave can't get to all of them, I'm going to save it and make sure that Dave and the team get them so that we can respond. Because Dave, there's a lot of stuff.
What do we got as questions? Hit me with some questions so we do it. Jay Talbot knows it's my fault.
All right. So one of the questions that I know Dr. Raphael can answer is, should we put our capability statements on our website, or should we only keep it for contract managers, programmers, etc.? That's one of our questions, sir.
That's a great question. And I think Ty asked that question, right?
Correct.
Part of, and the answer is my answer to that is you should always take every opportunity you can to highlight your capabilities, whether it's on your website, whether it's on your dynamic small business search, which is the SBA website, and listing of all the small businesses that are currently registered. Always take the opportunity, even in your signature block, which we designed with a URL, right? That they can click to and download your capability statements, because capability statements are a corporate resume. You're not going to get the interview if you don't have a resume. It's as simple as that. Just think of it that way. And there are different types of resumes that you use, subject to the type of audience that you're meeting with. If you're meeting with the director, it's one message. If you're meeting with the project manager, it's another one. If you're meeting with vendor management or the contracting officer, that's another one, right? So there are four different types of, capability statements, and they start at the sources sought stage, which is a different type of animal, all the way down to an agency specific capability statement. So if you like, we can do a free capabilities review, Dave. No obligation.
No obligation. You heard it. Raphael at raphaelmarrero.com is how you get your free review.
That's right.
I'll put in the chat also, because a lot of people need to reach you. Another question, Dave, is a lot of chatter here. How do I submit Lightning products to the GSA? Greg, you're up, sir.
I'm not sure if she's asking how to get those products on.
Lori come in. She says, how do I submit Lightning products to the GSA for their projects? Yeah. Lighting, not lighting. My bad. Like lightning.
So that's a great question, but if they want a GSA contract, let's just assume they want to get on GSA because it's a GSA specific type thing. Tell us how to do that.
Yep.
There's an application process. You submit it. You're going to deal with about a 3 to 6 month evaluation, and once you're approved for a period of 5 years with 3 5-year options, and at the end of 20 years you reapply. Sounds simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a piece of work, piece of cake.
Yeah,
it typically
takes us a month or two to. We'd like to get the applications completed and submitted in a month or two. Sometimes it takes longer than that, but our client sets the pace. So the first step in the process is letting a 5 or 6 page needs list, letting you know everything we need from your company about your past performance and your finances and your offerings and your pricing, et cetera. And then the ball's in your court. It takes as long as it takes. You set the pace, and we get it submitted, and then wait for it to be assigned and for the evaluation to begin.
Right, thanks. And then Peter, somebody, if you want to put your information in the chat, someone wanted to ask a question about lending to the opportunity. If a bank doesn't lend opportunity, how do you get credibility if you're a small business? You can briefly say something and then I'll put your information in the chat so they can reach out to you.
That
Did you
directed at me, Sally?
Yeah,
Ah,
that hey,
Yeah, well,
wake up, Peter.
Peter, so Peter,
I'd like to spend 15-minute call with that individual. We
okay,
can do a quick analysis and find the best path forward for financing.
All right. And you can do that by scanning that little TFN code that you got there. So I appreciate that. And Jay Talbot, you there, Jay? I gave you the ability to unmute because I want to talk about what you just dropped in the chat. What did you just do?
What did I just do?
You
I said it was your fault.
No, you said that. Oh, you just wrote a white paper though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
See?
So I
You
just
can't
said,
remember 30 seconds ago either.
That's
I think
right.
that goes to maintaining. It's another touch point that you can use is you write a white paper, send it to people, right?
Exactly.
So
That's a great way. That's a great way to stay relevant.
I love that.
And Jay, what are some of the things you do there
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Jay
on
is
the
in it.
white paper?
Yeah. So yeah, we could talk about that too. But I think it's very important, whether it's your capabilities, your RFPs, or your white paper, you want those to pop, right? You want them to pop because you want to be a federal Pop-Tart.
That's right.
Right.
I couldn't resist. All right,
Pop
all right,
like a
folks.
Pop-Tart.
We're gonna get you out of here. You want to be a federal Pop-Tart. We know that you do. Let me do this. I'm gonna open the one more poll so that we can get you guys out of here. Let me see.
While you're doing that, Dave, Phyllis is asking if she can get an email with all of our contact information. If you'd like, I can send it with a copy to all of you.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
But Phyllis, I responded you and I put my email in the chat. And then what I'll do is I'll copy everyone here, Dr. Raphael, Dave, everybody.
Yep.
They have your info. Thanks.
And I just popped this up if you need professional help. You probably need professional help from sitting here for an hour. But besides that, we don't provide that. That's different kind of therapy. But if you want help with monitoring, with marketing, with capabilities, with bidding on RFPs, representation at events, contract payroll funding, or CPARs and FAR training, or something else, just let us know and let us know when you want to be contacted. We'll make sure that that it gets passed on to the right folks. I do want to say thank you very much, Dr. Colonel Kentucky Fried Cuban with the sexy blue glasses.
You are not right. You are not right.
I am not right. That is a fact, baby. And everybody knows it. And but I appreciate all your insight. This was right in your wheelhouse, and I appreciate you spending the time as we're reaching out to government folks. Greg Clark, thanks for joining us, sir. I'll give you the salute as well. Proposal
Always
writing, GSA contract. If you see something on sam.gov, you're going to contact Greg, and Greg's going to say, here's why you should bid, here's why you shouldn't. Because getting to know is a good idea, right? You want to get to know as quick as possible.
Right, immediately.
Immediately.
Yep.
So there's that. Sally Wade, always a pleasure working with you. And we got stuff coming up. By the way, I will say that we are going to be talking about the SBA Dynamic Small Business Search, right, Rafa? We'll talk about that.
That's right. That's right.
And we're also going to we got to work up a briefing on LinkedIn for Govies.
We do. I had an idea what to talk to you about. Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
That's the platform.
They're
Yep.
playing.
That's the platform. They
LinkedIn
should
for
be.
Govies. I love that title.
LinkedIn for Govies. Write it down because I guarantee in 20 seconds, I'm not going to remember I just said that.
I'll remember.
All right. And Peter Timbus, thank you for being with us for the duration. I just can't thank you enough for what you do and the folks that you've helped out, at least with me over the years, because the government doesn't operate like the commercial sector. And that's why we're here. If GSA did their job and actually made it easy to do business with the government, you wouldn't need any of us. But the fact of the matter is, it ain't easy.
We're in our 34th year.
That defines. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
Okay, I didn't realize that I was still open. I thought.
All right, there you go. I'll mute you. All right. So go ahead, Peter.
Well, we're in our 34th year, and today I'm financing some of the kids of my original customers.
That's because you're
Pretty
old
cool.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like Tommy
I'm not
Boy
going to
today,
tell
man.
you how old I was, how many years ago when I was eating Pop-Tarts.
What's that? Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
that's
gonna tell
right.
you how long ago I was 4 years old. I was eating Pop-Tarts.
So yeah, we were. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I will
And
say.
I wanted to state
Go ahead, Jason.
the way you gave a synopsis of the Pop-Tart Bowl and connected that to marketing was absolutely genius. And that's pretty much defines what your platform is overall. Anyone looking to go into government contracting must go your avenue.
Oh man,
Thank you.
I am going to bring Pop Tarts out every time now, Jason. Now you did it. I'm going to start munching on them. But I appreciate that, man. And
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome, and I appreciate the ability to do that. This is my information. If you'd like to join me today at 1 p.m., I'm going to be talking about finding opportunities on sam.gov. The good doctor, the Kentucky Fried Cuban, will be with me again for at least a few minutes. And I appreciate you there. And I do want to say, if you know anybody that's a subject matter expert, we want to know who they are. Please have them send information to support@govbrief.us. We are looking for folks to fill specific roles. And I'll say Sally brought Joan Johnson, and she's coming up. She's not even on GovBrief yet. I'm telling you, she used to run an enormous component of the Navy. She's going to be presenting on how to do business with that. But more importantly, I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to hear what she has to say, because her perspective, being an insider, is really important. So your job right now, we're actually in Q2. We're in Q1 of this year. We want to make sure that you guys are ready to take on and build relationships. If you're not building relationships, you're not going to win, because your competitors are absolutely building relationships. And pay no attention to see you next month on January 9th. That is today. I do know that. I just didn't remember to update it before the session. Second Tuesday of the month, we do this. So Jason, thanks for popping in on this and letting us unmute you, and you be able to comment. And
people are asking about
absolutely
info for the.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
People are asking about info for the 1 o'clock webinar. So I don't know. It might be full because.
It's not full,
Okay.
because
So do you wanna-
we can handle 500.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find it for you.
Thanks, Jay Hawkins, for asking the question. So Dave will put the info, and you can
All right,
register.
so I'm gonna show you whatever you want to find. I'm gonna take you right there.
There you
So
go.
govbrief.us is the website, and it looks like this. And
Right,
this is the
in the chat.
sam.gov opportunity tutorial, and then you just add it to the cart, and then you are there. But this will show you how to do it. I'm gonna pop this into the chat if you want to go right to this page.
I put the link in, Dave.
You did?
Yep.
Oh, you did. All right then. See that? I didn't have to.
You're good.
You're good. I have to earn my keep somehow, right?
See that? Yeah, you gotta earn your keep.
You're good, you.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. I've got to go. Awesome seeing everybody. And Rafa, I got to get you a link for the one, right?
Yes, sir. I'm standing by and ready to go.
Okay, cool. See you guys.